All right, guys, we are here today, downtown Bellingham, wrapping up our street evangelism, and we had a first-time visitor, Brother Everett, here with us today. So what I want to know is, what's one thing that stood out to you? This is your first time doing street evangelism. What's one thing that stood out to you today, Everett?
Yeah, I think everybody's got their own interpretation of Jesus, and you know, I can't wait to come out here more and kind of set the record straight a bit.
So you had a conversation here at the end of your experience, and the 1 hour you were out here, you kept saying to me, I just want to get in a conversation with someone, and then the Lord gave you one at the very, very end. What was that like? What stood out to you about that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great conversation with someone who has been involved in a lot of religion, and you know, I believe Jesus is personal, and you know, it was just cool to just understand somebody's perspective. And you know, I've been there as someone who really thought they knew religion and Jesus, and you know, it's something completely different than I interpreted. But you really got to kind of dig in to find that. So seek Him with all your heart, and He will reveal Himself. So.
Right on. And you grew up out here since you were like 9 or 10 years old, correct?
Yeah.
And you're how old now?
32.
32, and this is your first time doing public evangelism, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, what would you say to the Christians here in Whatcom County and the churches that don't get out here and do this, and don't even want to get out here and do this? Can you kind of ease their minds now that you've broken the ice, and tell them that, look, it's not that scary, it's not that intimidating? Because a lot of people get in their head and they think, oh, that's going to be scary, blah, blah. What would you say as the first time doing it that really kind of calmed your nerves out here? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, just be curious, be gentle, right? Like Jesus says, be, you know, as wise as serpents, but as gentle as doves, right? And, you know, Jesus asked a ton of questions. That's, you know, I mean, He asked like over 300 questions, I think, in the Bible. So, you know, just try to be curious and you know, meet people where they're at, and they'll appreciate that. So
yeah, okay, right on. Good word. Bob is legendary evangelist. He goes over there on that stoop across the street, sits down, and everybody that I see that stops and talks to him, man, it's minutes and minutes and minutes. So Bob, what's one thing that stood out to you today?
Well, it's the same thing every day. I'm just wowed by the acceptance of what my message is that they haven't heard. All of a sudden, you see the light go on in their eyes, and it clicks. Everything they've ever known, wondered about, it clicks suddenly. And they realize we're on to something. We've got something here.
And what do you got in your hand there?
We got this, they sold their souls for rock and roll.
Right on. And on the back?
Turn
it over. What's on the back?
Well, it's a free showing.
Okay, free showing.
And it...
let me see.
It explains how 14 of the biggest rock groups in history came to fame and fortune.
Okay,
and
got it.
The big mind blower is they all came exactly the same way.
Right.
That cannot happen.
Right, that's not an accident. So one thing why I wanted you to show the people what you were handing out is because one thing about street evangelism, guys, is everybody has their own like little pitch or little breaking point where we get in a conversation with people. So I like to say, with my hand held out on the street with this card and gospel tract, my line is, would you like a free love gift today? And I hold this out. Bob says, hey, are you into rock and roll? And then he holds out his card with the rock and roll documentary on there. And then one thing that was interesting about Everett today, I was like, Everett, it's your first time out, and the Lord is going to give you something to break the ice with people. You're seeing how we're doing it. And what would you say is kind of one thing that kind of the Lord maybe gave you, Everett, to break the ice with people? It was some line. What was that line you were asking people?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on Jesus?
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So see, I haven't really heard that before from a lot of people. So when Everett said that today, he goes, hey, what are your thoughts on Jesus? I said, hey, that's a cool line. I mean, that sparks their interest. And some people, they gave their opinion. Go ahead.
It tells him immediately what they know about Jesus or Jesus.
Right.
What they don't know.
Right. So good point, Bob. Is that lets you know immediately where they're at with Jesus Christ. So Everett, thank you for that. Thank you for coming out today. Today was awesome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. And we're going to get the rest of these Christians that are just sitting in the building every Sunday out here on the street. And you pastors, don't stop them. So we're setting the army in order. All right, guys. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.